Welcome to
Every Day is Macaroni.
I'm Joy Alfred Brand.
And I'm Juliet Connell, and we're the hosts of Everyday Macaroni, the podcast.
This podcast is a look at the lighter side of life, where we talk about our adventures as a modern blended family.
So sit back, relax,
And prepare to have your funny bone tickled. Hello, listeners. How about that January, huh? Well, this year has sure started off with a bang for us. And whoops, don't you know it? Here comes February, the love month. Aw. More on that later. But for now, boy, do we have an extra special treat for you today. Before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to give this video a like, share, and subscribe to our channel while you're at it. That helps us create more fun content for you, our one and only listener. Except now, I actually think we have 2 listeners. For those of you who are new here, these episodes are based on the recordings of the weekly dinners I have with my husband, Ron, his sister, Juliet, who is also a co-host of the podcast, and their 80-year-old parents, Al and Lita. On this episode, of course, the outrageous comments keep on coming. That's always going to happen. And we discuss illegal activities with cousin Guido, as well as valuable tips on how to feed your dogs. Listener, this episode is slightly controversial and super fun. We know you'll enjoy it, so let's jump into the podcast, starting with a behind-the-scenes peek at the hysterical technical difficulties we had with Juliet's camera.
Like when I garden, I'm trying as hard as I can to stay more North Carolina native, or at least East Coast.
What has that got to do with?
And then she is currently painting.
I see that the camera is not on you. Not even at all.
Yeah, who moved it like that? All my stuff is moved around.
I don't see you at all.
Really?
Really,
Okay.
Juliet? I don't see you. I don't see you at all.
Okay, hold on. Okay, do you see me now?
I do not.
What?
You heard me.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Hey.
And no, I still don't see you.
What?
You heard me.
Oh
I'm speaking English.
Okay. Okay, how about now?
It's no.
Really? Still got to go the same way? Okay. All right, because normally I can see myself already. But
Jeez, okay, closer.
Okay. Am I here? Ooh, these things are heavy. Okay, I got it.
You gotta be careful.
I got it.
No, you don't.
Yeah, there we go. Oh my God, that thing moved on its own completely without even me doing it.
Because it's under a little bit of tension.
Okay.
You make me feel like I'm under tension.
I mean, it's looking right at me. Ooh!
This is the part that gets me.
What is this, an obstacle course?
Oh, fancy.
You should move that thing closer so it's not dangling like that.
What?
Or put the ottoman in the middle and let that rest on top of the ottoman.
Here's what happens when you show up and you start saying, do this and do that and do this.
Yeah, things happen.
No?
It's amazing how that works. You're welcome.
All right, that's enough of the camera shenanigans. I just wanted to give you a little peek behind the scenes here at Everyday Macaroni, the podcast. So, let's go ahead and get on with today's episode, shall we? What's new with you?
Not bad. The countdown begins. New job, new focus, new everything.
New everything. Getting ready to start.
Yeah.
Start a new job. So, we did have an exciting dinner on Monday.
We did, as always.
Talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I almost feel like it's, in some way, it's like therapy. You know, like people go and they make an appointment for going to therapy, and ours is there. It all depends.
Every Monday night.
Yeah, and it all depends on who's on the hot seat. And I like when I'm not on the hot seat. Because then I get to analyze everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it was just as enlightening as normal.
Monday night family dinners have been a source of entertainment for me for a long time. I don't know if you know how long I've been recording Monday Night Family Dinners. Do you know?
Definitely before COVID, because you were talking about writing a book. But other than that, I honestly can't place it. What, 2018?
2017.
17, yeah.
I started recording in 2017.
Yes. Subversive.
Did you say submersive?
Subversive.
Oh, I was going to say, like a submarine? No, but everyone started talking about, oh, how funny, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's when I decided to start recording. But
Yeah.
I tell you, some of the stuff we talked about on Monday is the reason why I started these recordings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pray tell.
Well, you were there, you know. Do you remember? No. There's so many good things. So many good things. So
Why don't you point them out to me?
Oh, I'm gonna. Don't worry, I'm gonna. First of all, so there's a couple of underlying threads through Monday Night Family Dinners, right? One of them is sort of the family dynamic, how all of you kind of operate together. And another one is the dog.
The dogs.
Dogs. But actually, with Monday Night Family Dinner, typically it's just one dog.
Right, their dog.
Right. And so there was one particular moment that there's always something funny going on with the dogs. Somebody's talking to the dogs. Normally, the funny part about the dogs is your mother talking to her dog.
Well, I have to say, right, before we preface dogs, right, my dad has always been an animal lover.
Right.
And what's funny is how it's manifested, right? So my dad goes from loving animals to then me really liking pets to then Caitlin becoming a wildlife biologist, which, I don't know, I find the progression kind of fascinating. All I can... Anytime I see my dad, it's like any of the dogs that we've ever had in our life was always somehow found. Like there was some dog that somehow was lost and now was found in my car. Right? And not only, I mean, people out there, you guys can say, oh yeah, you know, we found, you know, this little basset hound or this little Pekingese or whatever it is, right? You're like, no, you don't love dogs until your dad goes grocery shopping.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this story. This is a really good one. Yeah.
And then we get to our car and my dad opens up the car doors so that Ron and I can get into the back seat. And then all of a sudden this wayward Great Dane gets into the back seat with us. And my dad's totally okay with that. Right? So now think about your own kids and think about them getting into the car and buckling in. And then a Great Dane shows up and asks permission to get into your car.
Asks permission. What does that mean? What does that look like? A Great Dane asking permission to get in the car.
I don't know. He
like Scooby going, can I get in the car, please?
I know. He's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Connell.
No, don't you mean Mr. Brand?
I know. But here comes this dog, and he just jumps right into the front seat. And my dad's okay with that. Loads up his groceries. His kids are in the back seat. They're all safe. Big Great Dane goes into the front seat, and then he drives off with the Great Dane and his kids in the back seat. So those are the kind of things that my dad has always done.
What's funny is you're telling the story about your dad enticing the dog into the car.
No, he didn't even entice him.
The dog was just like, can I get in? And then your dad was like, yeah, go ahead.
Jumped right on in.
A Great Dane. And how old were you at the time?
Let's see. So
if it was in California.
No. It was in New Jersey. And it was before 1980. So that means that my brother and I, he was probably in elementary and I was...
Oh, so he still had the big teeth and the mustache? And the unibrow?
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. And... I was going to say, and I probably had that same mustache, but...
Well, you don't anymore. Now, I may tease you about the mustache, but you don't actually have a mustache, so.
I know. No, I was probably either in 6th grade or somewhere around there. So we were really kind of young, and this wayward, poor, lost Great Dane jumps into the front seat, and he didn't have the heart, because he was so sweet, to tell him to get out. So we ended up with him.
You went home with the dog.
We went home
How
with
long
the dog.
did that dog stay with you?
A week. About a week, because my dad... we had a shed.
Did your mother run it off?
No, she didn't. As long as my dad kept his stuff outside, she was good. She was, like keeper of the inside. But my dad, and I'd want to say he posted, lost dog, but that wasn't a thing back then. So he just called animal control or whatever it was and just said, hey, if anyone's looking for a Great Dane, this is what he looks like. Let me know, because I have him tied in the backyard. So he had him tied up in our shed. So it was a nice shed, and he was only with us for a week. And then that poor dog, my dad loved that dog, and he broke, I guess, the pillar that kept, one of the sides of that shed up. He just broke it and ran off, which I'm assuming is what got him lost in the first place.
He found a way to get out.
Yeah. So we only had him for a brief moment, but my dad was always the guy, the keeper of the dogs. We saw one dog when we went to Tom's River to visit my uncle and my cousin for one of the holidays. He took that dog. That was a basset hound, and we had him for a while. Honestly, I can't remember how these dogs end up, because I was fed a line of lies.
What do you mean you're fed a line of lies? What?
It was always like, we gave him to a farm that he can run, and this
they gave
and
him
that.
to a farm.
I'm not exactly sure what that means. And to this day,
You know what it means.
I never asked.
You're a grown up. You know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
They were given
I
to
really
a farm.
don't.
They were given to the
Yeah, I don't know.
the hole in the ground farm. So
I don't know, Joy. That might be yours, but
no.
my dad liked animals, so I don't know.
You know what? We all like the animals too. But I have a very good friend who shall remain nameless, who has had some experience with a couple of dogs that had to be moved along, and they they went to Kentucky. And that
They named a name. It's a name.
That meant that the dog was dispatched.
Oh my gosh.
Well, now these were not normal dogs. These were dogs that had issues beyond repair, shall I say, and so had to be dispatched to Kentucky.
To Kentucky. Isn't that funny? I wonder why they picked Kentucky as opposed to Alabama or Mississippi.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing there. But all I know is when the dog had to be moved along, it went to doggy camp in Kentucky. I'm just saying. It got dispatched to Kentucky.
All I know is that my dad had a lot of friends. That's what I had.
What does that mean? When you say friends, do you mean like doggy friends?
He had a lot of friends that owned farms where all the dogs went. He had a lot of friends.
See.
He had a lot of friends that gave him cars. He had a lot of friends that gave him, VHS movies.
I wonder if we're treading into illegal behavior here.
Of course not, Joy. My first car was from a friend.
In Kentucky.
My little Datsun 210. My little Datsun 210 was from a friend. And I looked at the car and I said, hey, Dad. I said, what kind of car is that? And he's like, oh, Datsun, blah, blah, blah. Because it looked like a Nova. But I knew
Which
enough.
in Spanish means doesn't go. Nova.
Yes, exactly.
Which I think is hysterical.
That's why advertising is you got to do your homework, right? And the Nova didn't do well in Spanish-speaking countries. Surprise! So he brought this Datsun 210 into our driveway, and I paid for that because, my grandmother had given me money for my graduation, and this is what I had paid for, apparently. And I looked at it and I went, Dad, the front seats and the back seats don't match. What in the world? He's like, oh, I'll fix that. And then all of a sudden the car like disappeared. And then it came back like a week later and both front and back seats matched. I was like, I'm not going to ask. For the first time ever, I stayed silent.
Yeah. Your cousin Guido found those seats after they fell off a truck, right? Well, so when you're talking about the dogs,
Yes.
so what's funny about this whole story, and especially you telling the story about your dad letting the dog into the car, is this whole exchange between Ron and your dad from Monday. So I'm going to roll this clip. You got to hear it. I'll roll the clip. This exchange is so funny, okay? All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, since I left college,
Work.
High school.
high school,
College, high school.
I started reading, and this is the one of the worst things.
What are you, like a mother bird? He takes a bite of food, takes it out of his mouth, and gives it to the dog.
Is that what you're doing? Oh, my God.
It's just that we love our dog.
So,
Now they're chewing the food for him.
wow.
So my dad's chewing food and then taking
So-
it out of his mouth.
Right. What's happening is he's taking a bite of something. Listener, you heard me. He's taking a bite of something and like, and then giving it to the dog.
Did you just taka 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 taka?
Yes. Yes, that's what he's doing. And that's funny for two different reasons. First of all, because of the noises. And secondly, because it's disturbing that an 84-year-old man is a mother bird to this dog. And he got caught. And Ron saw it. And there he is. He's and giving it to the dog.
Well, you know.
Oh my God, and you're okay with it.
Well, you know.
You are okay with it.
That he cooks everything well done. So that meat was hard.
That dog
Like
has
leather.
teeth. Well, true. Okay, so in all fairness, she's not wrong about this. In all fairness, so Monday night's dinner was pork chops. What else? Pork chops,
I don't know. I tried to put it behind me.
baked beans, which I didn't have any of
There
those.
were baked beans. There was
Sweet
a
potato.
sweet potato always.
And acorn squash.
And then a salad.
And right.
Right?
And those pork chops were cooked. They could, you could thread some type of leather strap and have a thong. And you could wear it out in the desert.
Like flip-flops,
That's right.
you mean, right?
Yes, I meant flip-flops.
Because the other way would be very disturbing.
Now, wait a minute.
Would cause some serious
There
chafing.
are two definitions of the word thong. When
We're
I was-
talking the old-fashioned thong on your feet.
Right, exactly, like a sandal.
Because had it not been the sandal version, there'd be a lot of chafing going on. That would not be good.
But, you know, this whole conversation continues on, and it's very entertaining. You got to hear it. So, here, listen to the rest of this.
Okay.
Wow. Breathe the teeth right out of them.
Let me tell you, it's like it's our baby. But
You treat the dog better than you did Juliet when she was a kid.
That's nice.
Juliet and you, well, I didn't care too much for my kids.
Did you hear that?
Not for this one, not for the other.
Did you hear that, listener? I didn't care too much for my kids. Not for this one, not for that one. No.
Not for this one, not for that one. No. I treat them like my angels. And I'm not exaggerating.
Okay, wait a minute. Is that true, Juliet? Would you agree with that? I treat them like my angels, and I am not exaggerating.
Yeah, well, no, she, in her own mind, she's not exaggerating.
This is all a matter of perspective, listener. It's a matter of perspective.
That's right.
Okay, there's
That's
more.
right.
There's more.
I treat them like they were my pets.
My pets.
Sorry about the kids.
I don't know. We're gonna have to. Survey says.
She treats my father like a distant neighbor.
And how he treats me, like like a little slave.
Well, you are small.
So I was right halfway.
I was halfway right. Oh, there's so much more. It's coming.
What really gets me is when she's got a mouthful and she's talking at the same time, which irritates me, and I don't know why, but
I'll tell you why. Because
She's-
when you were a kid, if you tried to pull that stunt, you would have been.
exactly. She's so picky about being formal, and then all of a sudden she's got a mouthful and she's like, rah, 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 rah. And I was like, what? Anyway.
Yep, that is true. I have witnessed that myself. Okay, there's so much more.
So I have to let it go with whatever he wants because he doesn't listen to nobody.
Because he's your master.
He's my master. My monster. No monster.
My monster. Aw.
That was good.
Okay, it was funny.
No,
Okay,
it's,
so, all right. So, a couple things going on here. First of all, I may or may not have to save this for Halloween because it's funny. Because she does call him a
My
monster. Right. And every relationship is different. You know how it is. But they are no end of entertaining. Truly.
The two of them cannot live without each other, right? But at the same time, living together irritates them.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't know how to put it.
Because it's like every other married couple.
Yeah.
You
after-
love that person, but at the same time, they drive you nuts.
Right. But I think after a while, or at least after a while with these two, my dad's really quiet and
Wait. But we get to that in a second. Okay, here, wait.
Oh, okay.
This is the next kind of entertaining comment. There were so many entertaining comments on Monday. I mean, I was sitting listening to it, getting ready to record, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to narrow it down, all the entertaining comments, and we're just going to have to lump it all together? Because, I mean, it's just... Anyway, so wait, there's more coming.
No, I think as you get old, you got your habits and you don't want anybody
True.
to change them.
Right. You don't want to be changed, yeah.
You don't have any habits, do you?
My worst habit is that I talk too much.
What? Why would you say that?
No, I think that, well, because maybe
Okay, so just so you know what's going on here, Ron is calling out his mother, right? Because she's saying,
Tongue in cheek.
well, okay. She's saying, as you get older, you're set in your ways, yada yada, and and you have your habits, right? And he's saying, do you have any habits, basically? And she says, well, at a rare moment of honesty here.
I know. That was a full disclosure. That was like self-awareness to the max there.
Where she says, well, maybe I talk too much.
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, and she has more to say.
if I go by what Dad talks, I do talk too much. Because Dad, I just like living by myself, but Dad doesn't talk.
Well,
No.
he's pretty quiet.
And so,
Now, here, I will say.
So going by someone who doesn't talk a lot, I talk a whole lot.
Right. Now, I will say, when I was first getting introduced to the family, and I met your mother for the first time ever, she said to me, my husband is not very social. He doesn't talk very much. She said that to me. And I was kind of like, well, he's a grown man. He can kind of say that to me himself if he wants. He can express to me how much he does or does not interact with others. But she got in front of it and she's like, no, I know. He does not talk. No, I know. So I said, okay, whatever. And sure enough, she was not wrong. She got in front of it. It's funny how they say my husband and my wife. I've noticed that. That's kind of weird. Your dad says, well, my wife wants this, right?
Does he? Because I notice it when my mom says it. My husband. And I'm like, Mom, just say dad.
But she's talking to me. There's other people in the room.
I know.
Normally, she would say that.
Or, she could say, hey, dad doesn't blah, blah, blah. Or Al doesn't blah, blah, blah.
Oh, she speaks for him frequently.
But the fact that she's always saying, oh, my husband. And I'm like, who are you talking to?
Usually it's because I'm there.
Yeah, but you know that her husband is named Al.
Or that she calls him dad. Yes. Or papa. Yeah.
So I'm like, who are you talking to?
Well, it has been a couple of years. But it's kind of funny how she goes into her routine or whatever. So there she is talking about, he doesn't talk much or whatever. And she has a little bit more to say. And then I make a joke.
Oh, do you say joke? Yes.
I make a joke,
Is there
yes.
a joke in there?
Yes, I make a joke.
And so, no, he doesn't.
Does he drink?
No.
That's my joke.
He drinks
Oh,
water.
that was it right
Yes.
there. Okay, I gotcha.
Nobody laughed. Not then, not now. But there's so many dynamics going on at Monday night dinner. There's the dog. Then there's the four of you interacting as you always have. And there's the food. And that's another kind of dynamic in a way. Like, for example, the extra super well done pork chops, which they were so well done that you could hear me at one point in the recording. I'm like, because the microphone is between me and Al. So you could hear me sawing away at the meat. It was so well done.
That's why I only asked for a half. So I was in the kitchen. I said, hey, there were 2 pork chops left. And I knew that one was for me and one was for my dad. And I said to Dad, I said, I'm not really hungry. Can I just have half of that? And then Ron's on the background going, well, Juliet, all you have to do is cut it in half. And I said,
Juliet, aren't you hungry, Juliet?
I get that. I had to cut it in half.
Because
I'm just asking because he made it, so I don't want him to think, I don't know, whatever. So I'm just like, hey, I only want half. So he went and cut it. But I'm telling you, even he was like cutting into wood. He was like,
well, because
wait a minute. Wait, I think I hit the bone. No, not really. But okay. And then he comes up with some of it. And he's like, oh, here. And he's like, wait, that's too little. Let me give you a little bit more. And I'm
are you
like,
talking about your
no.
dad giving you a pork chop in the kitchen?
Yeah.
So you guys were in the kitchen, and he's cutting up the pork chop for you.
Uh-huh.
And you get to the table, and I try to take pictures of stuff, but I wish I could have taken a picture of your plate that day. Sometimes I do, but so part of the issue is everybody's watching what you're eating, right? And here's what Ron has to say.
You're not hungry?
Huh?
You okay?
See? See, listener, see what happens is Juliet comes to the table, she puts her plate down, and Ron calls her out. Aren't you you not hungry? And then, of course, the eye of Sauron turns on your plate, right? No, are you okay?
I know.
What's the matter?
What? That doesn't look like a full piece of pork chop. Why are you only have
a full piece of extra super well done leather? Yeah. Well, not only did Cousin Guido get matching seats for Juliet's Dotson, but he's also in charge of the Rainbow Bridge, Doggy Camp, and the hole-in-the-ground farm that we all know is in Kentucky. Am I right? You know what I mean, don't you, listener? Wink, wink. There's nothing like our fun and entertaining Monday night dinners with practically incinerated pork chops and a side of laughs. I really wouldn't have it any other way, to tell you the truth. Now, make sure you stay tuned for our next episode, which is our 2023 Valentine's Day special, where we'll be talking about love and marriage. Listener, I guarantee you won't want to miss it. This has been a public service announcement from the Motherbird Society reminding you to chew your food before your dogs eat it. I hope you enjoyed listening and sharing a laugh or two with us. Stay tuned for more Everyday Macaroni adventures on future podcast episodes. And if you want to see some pictures of us, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching @EverydayMacaroni or #EverydayMacaroni. And now you can also watch us on YouTube. Just search Everyday Macaroni and our new channel will pop up. If you want to shop for some fun macaroni merch, head over to everydaymacaroni.com. Don't forget, if you have a blended family story to share, email us at info@everydaymacaroni.com and put the word share in the subject line. You can also call us on our Macaroni Fun Phone at 919-729-2043. Your story might end up on a future episode, and how fun would that be? Super fun. Finally, don't forget to give us a good review and download your favorite episodes. A share would be nice too. The more interaction we get for the podcast, the more episodes we can post. Again, thanks for listening, and join us for the next episode of
Every day.